I'm not gonna be apologizing every single second of this. I feel like people who are really angry on social media for people being, I don't know, in their perspective, not very inclusive, is doing it sort of mischievously, because you know that most of the times when people say something is not in a way to offend. I'm not trying to put down anyone whose Christian faith very, very differently than mine. Let's do this. So today I'm going to talk about Christianity and travel. But I want to talk more about what is it like traveling as a Christian, and now my current struggle is finding fellow Christian travelers. And maybe this video is about venting about that, or maybe this video is like an outreach for us to sort of come together and find each other in a sense. First of all, I would want to kind of define what a true Christian means to me. And that is someone who tries to uphold the faith as much as they can. We aren't perfect, swallows very hardly, but someone who is trying to uphold the faith as best as they can. Someone who takes the Bible seriously. Someone who understands the deep spiritual aspect of this society. Someone who understands the fate of the world in a spiritual perspective, like the fact that the Lord is coming back again soon, the fact about judgment, the fact about the rapture, stuff like that. People who really know what's going on, you know. And someone who's a born again believer, I mean, someone who is not just like on the surface superficial Christian, but do everything that non-Christians do. There is no separation between who's a Christian and who's not. Well, if you're watching this, wow, the enemy is trying to attack my throat. I'm joking. But yeah, if you are a born again believer and you're watching this, you get what I'm saying, right? And if you're not, and you're about to go into the comments to troll me, it's just that you just don't understand. Okay, when I refer to the word Christian in this video, that's what I mean. Okay, what is it like traveling as a Christian in that capacity? It can be lonely. It can be very difficult at times, because when you're traveling, the beauty about traveling and living this nomadic lifestyle is that you are like in different places a lot of times, so you don't really stay in one place for a long time. And the comforts that you have at your home church, you don't have it necessarily when you're traveling, because even if you find a church with a similar faith, it takes a while to kind of, for the congregation and those saints to get used to you, versus when you're at your home church, you probably grew up in that church, so everyone knows you. And personally for me, that's my problem. Like growing up in Jamaica in church and having a home church is like everyone knows you. But when you're traveling and you're trying to find a new church, it's difficult, because the psychology of people is that it takes a while to warm up to a stranger. That is how we are, whether you share the same faith with someone. So, and also some of my main struggles too while traveling as a Christian is actually finding a church where that I share similar values with. You know, a church that encourages you to embrace the trueness of Christianity and the Bible. So when traveling as a Christian, sometimes I find myself hopping around a lot to different churches. I've gone to different churches. I grew up in the Apostolic Pentecostal Church, but I've gone to like Hillsong Church, Church of Christ. I've been to different churches. Not because I necessarily want to, because at the end of the day, like traveling as a Christian sometimes, even if you don't necessarily find the exact denomination that you are used to, it's just really good to be a part of a Christian community. Even if you don't see eye to eye with a lot of the church's beliefs, And in my first video, when I talk about tips for traveling as a Christian, I talk about finding a Christian community, which when traveling is more important than staying at home every Sunday, because you don't find the church that line up exactly with the beliefs of your home church. Yeah, and that's that. And the next thing about traveling as a Christian is that sometimes you may stand out a lot. Like, for example, with smoking, I don't smoke. In some environments, there's less pressure from people who may see you as an outsider because you don't smoke. There are a lot of people who don't smoke, Christian or non-Christian. But sometimes when you're around a lot of people who that's not your choice, who smoke, sometimes there's this pressure, like, how comes you don't smoke? How comes you don't drink? And I remember one specific instance in 2019 when I was traveling is like the constant pressure to drink. I'm like, there are young people that exist that don't consume alcohol. Like, I'm not talking about socially. I'm talking about drinking every weekend. That's getting drunk every Friday and smoking and partying and stuff like that. It's hard to find a Christian randomly, like a true Christian randomly. It's easier because, for example, I solo travel a lot. And for example, if I go to a hostel or if I go to an event, 97% of the chance no one there is a Christian. And I mean, based on the definition that I said, like true Christian. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, where are we? How do we find each other when we travel? I know that there are a lot of Christians who travel. And I'm like, how do we find each other? Because I would love, like, when I'm going to a hostel, that probably my roommate is a Christian. Like, how amazing would that be when I go to a travel event? At least 5 people in the room are true Christians, and that's my dream. But I think the main problem is, and I did mention that in my first video, we don't wear a shirt saying, oh, I'm Christian, are you? Groups, sometimes you have some Facebook groups like Christian Network, Christian Travel Network, but there's always so much spam and everyone is always like sending quotes. It isn't really true to nature to travel to like a true Christian travel community. And maybe I'm wrong, and I hope this video will prove me wrong in many ways, and then people will sort of comment like, hey, I'm Sasha from I don't know, Belarus, and I'm a true Christian, and here's a group that you can connect with. We have this group and we're traveling to, I don't know, like Southern Europe next month if you want to tag along. I hope that is the sort of feedback I will get from this video. I would be so happy. I think also traveling as well as a Christian, it does affect the friend making process in a way, because you don't want to sort of choose between your values and friendship on the road. When you're traveling, especially when you're traveling alone, it's important to have a group of friends, and you can't be really picky. It doesn't make sense to be picky because people overall, Christian or not, are like wonderful and good to be around. But sometimes I do crave just a true Christian friendship. And you might be saying, yeah, there are a ton of churches with a lot of young people, like as I've mentioned some before. But as I said, it's like, I don't know. But I think my other point on that is being on the other end of the stick, being a stranger in someone else's land, in many lands, by myself. I've realized how also inhospitable the church community can also be, which is very sad. And the idea of thinking that a stranger in your land is a stranger, it goes against the idea of the kingdom of God, that especially young people young people, I don't know if it's just a stage. I personally love hanging around older people because I feel like young people my age, especially when they haven't come out of like their box a lot, they tend to be very closed off, very cliquey, very party. This is my group, and they don't really interact much with strangers. And that has also been my experience. I've gotten both ends of the stick, like really welcoming church groups and church people, and very cold, you know. So it's like, and I find the most problem with a lot of young people as well, you know. It's like, if you see a new person come into your church, approach them, talk to them. Don't wait until they're there for a month or two, if they're even there that long, before you have a conversation. Approach them, talk to them, say hello, where are you from? I haven't seen you before. What brought you here? It's good to see you. And I think we need to kind of stimulate that sort of mentality amongst like young Christian people. When you see new people, approach them, have a genuine conversation, and you will make their day 1,000%. I've traveled and gone to churches that the welcome is just so terrible, and I just never go back again, because why would I want to go to another country and go to a church where you're not embraced, you know? And you kind of, as I see, it's not necessarily their fault. It's just that they're not really psychologically open to strangers as we are usually as human beings. But I'm saying that there should be sort of a more thinner line in the Christian community, since we have the rhetoric of the kingdom of God. That means embracing our fellow kingdomers, if that's a word, you know. I don't even know like if this video is going somewhere, but with that said, my Instagram is Jamaican Vagabond. Maybe I'll put it here or something. Reach out to me there. Like, I would love if we could connect. I think if you're watching this video and you feel the same way, or you want to connect, like, reach out to me on Instagram and we can talk and stuff. And also, I would love for us to even probably create a Facebook group as well. That would be really good. Like, true Christian travelers, like Christian nomads who are out there, like young people. It doesn't have to be young people, like Christian nomads, all ages, you know, out there, like real Christians who are also travelers, who love the nomad lifestyle, who, you know, sort of crave that community too when they're traveling. So that marks the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Thank you for bearing my ranting, my talking for, I don't know how long this video will be, maybe 10-20 minutes, 17, because yeah. Remember to subscribe, like and share. It's free and it helps a lot. And I'm looking forward to connect and seeing you in my other videos. And this is where I say goodbye. Ciao.